What, bro? Trying to get into? You're almost me, bro.
You gotta calm down, bro.
Yeah, bro, you gotta learn how to drive, bro. You
gotta relax yourself, bro.
You're almost hitting me with your truck, bro. You're almost hitting me, bro. What the in my lane and shit, bro. Come on.
So allegedly, Jon Jones swerved into this guy's lane 3 times, nearly causing a crash. The driver flipped him off, and that's when this happened. So who was in the wrong?
Jon Jones got himself into another issue on the road. A video comes out of Jon Jones approaching a guy who's recording him. And Jones walks into the guy and starts flicking him off after the guy was getting mad at Jon Jones for swerving around, saying Jon Jones was driving recklessly, and the guy in the video was giving it to Jon. He had Jon Jones walking to him, slowly approaching with his hand in his pocket. And we all know Jon carries, and Jon Jones had his hand in his pocket at night on the road, stopping in front of this guy. Already one of the most dangerous men in the history of the planet, and that's what he's doing. And then this guy still proceeds to keep telling Jon that he's driving horribly, learn how to drive. Jon walks up to him telling him he has to calm down, and the guy still keeps telling him you have to learn to drive. Then Jon just flicks him off. How is it that Jon Jones constantly gets himself into these situations even though he's pushing 40 nowadays? After all of the extracurricular things that have occurred throughout his UFC career and him approaching 40 years of age right now, how is he now still in these types of situations where he's apparently driving recklessly, getting in a guy's face and flicking him off? And this obviously isn't the greatest of looks either. I get it's kind of like a protection thing for Jones in the event of something happening, but it's still all just insane to me.
Video came out of Jon Jones, and the story went like this. Jon Jones is out driving. Jon Jones is being reckless, almost cuts a guy off. Then you get the other side of the story, which is just the opposite. Jon Jones is out driving, and some guy is getting reckless, and some guy cuts Jon off. The whole thing culminates in what looked like a parking lot, like some kind of a commercial area and some other businesses around. The guy's in his vehicle, and Jon gets out, and Jon's walking over to him.
In the world of Jon Jones, even a routine drive can spiral into a global headline. A recently surfaced video captures the UFC's pound-for-pound king in a tense parking lot confrontation, following allegations of reckless driving and road rage. While the footage shows an eerily calm Jones approaching another driver, the conflicting narratives are already tearing through the MMA community. Was this a disciplined martial artist standing his ground, or a dangerous escalation by a man with a notorious history of legal trouble? The incident has sparked intense debate among fans, analysts, and critics alike. On one side, supporters argue that Jones was simply protecting himself and his vehicle after being provoked. They point to his composed demeanor and measured approach as evidence of a fighter who has learned from past mistakes and now handles conflict with calculated restraint. On the other hand, detractors see the clip as yet another example of a champion who cannot seem to escape controversy, regardless of the setting. The parking lot setting itself adds an extra layer of intrigue, a mundane, everyday space transformed into an arena of high-stakes drama. What makes this situation particularly fascinating is how quickly it escalated from a simple traffic dispute into a viral moment that has everyone questioning the boundaries between self-defense and unnecessary confrontation. Jones, widely regarded as the greatest fighter of all time, possesses an almost supernatural ability to dominate inside the octagon, yet these external incidents continue to challenge his public image. The video raises profound questions about celebrity, impulse control, and the unique pressures faced by athletes at the pinnacle of their sport. How does the GOAT keep finding himself in these situations? As the footage continues to circulate and opinions polarize, one thing remains clear. In Jon Jones's life, the line between legend and liability is thinner than ever.
And what can you gather by that? I mean, Jon did seem calm. Is that relevant? Yeah, I think so. I think so. In the middle of a road rage, there's a guy being calm. More concerning, though, is Jon had his hand in his pocket. What was he holding in that pocket? I don't know. Many people speculate a gun. Jon is known to travel with guns. Jon never said anything about it. He never threatened the guy. Like, I have a gun. I'm just sharing with you, me as an observer looking at it. What a terrifying scenario.
It's not just the confrontation that has people talking. It's the unspoken threat lurking beneath the surface. As Jon Jones walked toward an angry driver, observers immediately noticed a chilling detail. His hand was buried firmly in his pocket. For a man known to carry firearms and possessing a record of volatile public incidents, this wasn't just a casual gesture. It was a psychological hammer. The image of Jones steadily advancing with one hand concealed created an atmosphere thick with tension and uncertainty. In that moment, the other driver, and now millions watching the video, had to wonder what might be hidden in that pocket. Was it simply a habitual stance, or was Jones subtly signaling off? We explore the terrifying reality of being on the receiving end of that stare-down. The psychological pressure of facing a 6'4", 250-pound elite fighter who moves with the calm confidence of someone who has ended careers in, and the ambiguous hand-in-pocket posture turned a verbal exchange into something that felt dangerously close to the edge. This detail has fueled countless discussions about threat perception, de-escalation, and the fine line between intimidation and self-protection. For fans and critics, it serves as a stark reminder that Jon Jones operates on a different level, both in skill and in the intensity he brings to even the most ordinary encounters. The chilling visual has left many wondering how close we came to a much darker outcome.
The guy is telling Jon, something, bro. Like, the number one used word here was bro. Both of these guys went really heavy on the bro. So they're both doing the bro back and forth, but neither one of them seemed angry. Ultimately, Jon Jones gives the middle finger, which Jon has an ability to give the middle finger in a somewhat humorous way.
Expectations for a Jon Jones road rage incident usually involve high-intensity screaming matches, but the reality captured on film was bizarrely repetitive. In a back-and-forth dominated by the word bro, the tension felt almost surreal. Despite the allegations of reckless swerving and near misses, the speaker notes a strange lack of overt anger, culminating in a humorous middle finger from Jones. The dialogue plays out like a scene from an awkward buddy comedy, rather than a heated confrontation. Repeated use of bro creates an oddly casual tone that contrasts sharply with the seriousness of the allegations. This unexpected restraint has left viewers divided. Some see it as a sign of growth. A more mature Jon Jones who has learned to control his emotions and avoid explosive outbursts. Others interpret it as a calculated display of dominance, a way of asserting superiority without needing to raise his voice or throw punches. The casual bro exchange, followed by Jones flipping off the other driver with what many described as a smirk, injected an element of dark humor into the situation. It humanized the moment while simultaneously highlighting how surreal celebrity confrontations can become. Is this the evolution of Bones, or simply a new way for a legend escalating a traffic dispute remains serious? This bizarrely polite yet tense standoff continues to fascinate because it defies expectations of how a superstar athlete should handle conflict.
So he gives the somewhat humorous middle finger and walks away, and the guy doesn't try to stop him from walking away. And I think that the guy knows that that's Jon Jones in the moment, but that would be a little bit of a guess. Okay. That's where this ends. Jon leaves. Jon then has the help of a PR team that releases this statement that he was proud of his decision-making in this moment because he will not allow himself to be bullied.
The PR machinery behind Jon Jones is as elite as his wrestling. Following the incident, his team released a statement claiming he was proud of his decision-making because he refused to be bullied. It's a masterclass in narrative control, reframing a potentially criminal confrontation into a story of heroism. By positioning Jones as the bully stopper, his team is leveraging the ultimate power in modern public perception, the victim status. In today's media landscape, claiming victimhood even from a position of immense physical and cultural power, can effectively shift public sympathy. The statement cleverly flips the script. Instead of Jones being seen as the aggressor who exited his vehicle, he is portrayed as someone bravely standing up against bullying and disrespect. This strategic reframing aims to neutralize criticism and maintain his heroic image among loyal fans. We look at how this strategy is designed to flip the script and keep Jon's legacy intact despite his mounting extracurricular issues. The Bully Stopper label taps into a powerful cultural narrative where defending oneself against perceived aggression is celebrated. It transforms a questionable decision into a principled stand, potentially shielding Jones from harsher scrutiny. However, this approach also carries risks. Critics argue that it avoids personal responsibility and sets a dangerous precedent for how high-profile athletes handle conflict. As the story continues to unfold, the effectiveness of this PR pivot will be tested by how the broader public and potential legal authorities respond. For now, the Jones camp continues to play the long game, protecting one of the most valuable brands in combat sports.
Not bad. I mean, there's not a lot of things that you can turn to. There's not a ton of things that you can do. There's also not a huge apology that one would have to give. Like, everybody's got a camera these days, but for some reason, nobody turned the camera on until they're already in the parking lot. So what led us to this moment? And then you also have to understand that Jon's team doesn't know for sure that this other guy doesn't have video leading to this moment.
In an era where every person is a walking camera, the most important part of the Jon Jones incident remains a mystery. Why does the footage only start in the parking lot? The allegations of reckless driving, swerving into lanes, and near collisions all happened before the record button was pressed. Without that crucial context, the entire event is a game of he said, she said. The absence of the lead-up footage has become one of the most discussed elements of the controversy. Many wonder whether the full story would portray Jones in a more negative light or if it would actually support his version of events. The strategic silence from his PR team regarding the missing road footage only fuels speculation. Was it never recorded? Was it deliberately withheld? Or is there simply no footage to begin with? We dive into why the missing road footage is the only thing standing between Jon Jones and a potential legal nightmare. In the court of public opinion, context is everything. Without seeing the alleged reckless driving, viewers are left to fill in the blanks with their own biases, some giving Jones the benefit of the doubt, others assuming the worst. This information gap highlights the challenges of modern viral incidents. In a world saturated with smartphones, the selective nature of what gets recorded can dramatically shape the narrative. As analysts and fans continue to dissect the available clip, the missing pieces remain the biggest unknown in determining whether this was a minor traffic dispute or something far more serious.
And anytime you can become the victim, you win. You win. The most powerful person in America is not the pundit or the professor or the politician. The most powerful person, it's not the astronaut or the doctor or the lawyer. The most powerful person is the victim. You can run that right into public service. You can run that right to getting yourself a spot in the United States Senate. So he used the word bully. He wasn't going to allow. Therefore, that makes him a bully stopper, which makes Jon the hero. It's not bad. It's not bad.
While the parking lot video shows a calm exchange, analysts are sounding the alarm on a much darker underlying pattern. The combination of past incidents, potential intoxication, and the presence of firearms creates a very dangerous thing. Even without overt rage in this specific clip, the ambiguity of Jones's motives, whether he was looking for respect or trying to teach a lesson, casts an unsettling shadow. Jon Jones has faced numerous questions about his personal life over the years, including issues related to substance use and legal troubles. When these factors intersect with his access to firearms and his elite fighting abilities, the risk profile increases dramatically. Experts point out that even a calm demeanor in the video does not eliminate the underlying volatility that has characterized parts of his journey. we discuss why those close to the champion are worried about his safety as much as his reputation. The deadly combination of potential impairment and weapons is a recipe for disaster that extends beyond public image. It touches on real-world consequences for everyone involved. Friends, family, and team members may be concerned that one wrong move in a heated moment could end not just careers, but lives. This incident serves as a cautionary tale about the pressures of fame, the difficulty of personal change, and the constant tightrope walk Jones seems to navigate. As the conversation continues, many hope that the champion finds healthier ways to channel his intensity before another situation spirals out of control.
I just have a concern in those situations, and there's been prior incidences, and booze and firearms is just a very dangerous thing. And we get this road incident, which many are going to call rage. But from the piece of video that we saw, there was no rage. I don't know what it was that Jon wanted. Did he want a certain respect? Did he want to give a lesson to the young man? Did he want to tell him, these roads are dangerous, make sure you slow down? I don't know. We never really got to any of it.
There is one undeniable truth in the eyes of the law. If you leave your car to approach another person during a road dispute, you lose. Legal experts point out a terrifying hypothetical. If the other driver had been armed and felt threatened by a man of Jones's stature approaching them, the legal outcome would be stark. Regardless of who swerved first, exiting the vehicle is an escalation that could lead to a tragedy where there would be no trial. This legal perspective cuts through the emotion and opinions surrounding the video. In most jurisdictions, leaving your vehicle to confront someone transforms a traffic incident into a potential assault or brandishing case. Jones's size, skill, and reputation as a fighter further complicate the optics and the legal risk. What might be seen as standing one's ground by some could be interpreted as intimidation or aggression by others, and by the law. We break down the massive legal risk Jon Jones took, and why his entourage seems unable to stop him from making these high-stakes gambles. The decision to exit the truck turned a containable situation into one with potentially life-altering consequences. Legal analysts emphasize that even if no physical contact occurred, the act of approaching can be enough to shift liability significantly. As the story develops, questions remain about whether this incident will result in formal charges or simply serve as another public relations challenge. The legal reality serves as a sobering reminder that street confrontations rarely favor the famous when things go wrong.
But if you're the young guy and Jon's walking up to you, and let's just say in a hypothetical that guy had a gun. Had that guy used the gun, there would be no trial. There would be no jury of any kind. Regardless of who swerved, who sped, who cut who off. If one guy stays in his vehicle where he is supposed to be, and another person exits the vehicle and approaches you where they're not supposed to be, there's not going to be a big, long discussion. And it doesn't seem like there's anybody out there that can get a hold of Jon, if you will. Anybody that can explain it to him.
At an age where most legends are settling into coaching or quiet retirement, Jon Jones is still finding himself in the middle of street confrontations. Approaching 40, the greatest fighter to ever live should be beyond the days of parking lot disputes and flipping off drivers. This incident raises serious questions about his transition out of the sport and whether the competitive fire that makes him unbeatable in the cage is becoming a liability in his everyday life. Many legendary athletes struggle with life after competition because the same traits that made them great, intensity, competitiveness, and an unrelenting drive, do not always translate well to civilian existence. For Jones, that fire appears undiminished. While his in-cage dominance remains legendary, these repeated off-duty incidents suggest a man who may still be battling inner demons, or simply unable to disengage from the warrior mentality. How much more can the Bones brand take before the extracurricular issues finally eclipse the gold belts? Fans who have celebrated his incredible achievements now find themselves defending or explaining away behavior that seems beneath a champion of his caliber. The contrast between his athletic greatness and personal turbulence continues to define his public narrative. As Jones nears the twilight of his career, this latest event forces a broader conversation about legacy, maturity, and what it truly means to evolve beyond the octagon. The parking lot incident may be minor in the grand scheme, but it symbolizes a larger question. Can one of the greatest fighters ever truly find peace outside the cage? Would the driver have been as vocal if he didn't realize he was yelling at the greatest martial artist on the planet? There is a strong theory that the confrontation ended peacefully only because the other individual recognized Jon Jones in the heat of the moment. We analyze how Jones's celebrity status acts as both a target and a shield in these situations, and why the humorous middle finger might have been a silent acknowledgement of the massive power imbalance present in that parking lot. Celebrity creates a unique dynamic in everyday conflicts. On one hand, being instantly recognizable can make someone a target for those seeking attention or validation. On the other, it can de-escalate situations once recognition kicks in, as people suddenly become aware of who they are dealing with and the potential consequences. In this case, the shift in tone once Jones was identified may have prevented the situation from worsening. The power imbalance was palpable. A world-class fighter with a larger-than-life reputation facing an ordinary driver. The middle finger, delivered almost playfully, could be interpreted as Jones acknowledging the absurdity of the moment while reminding everyone of his untouchable status. This theory highlights how fame influences not just outcomes but the very perception of events. It raises questions about fairness, privilege, and whether Jones would receive the same treatment if he were an unknown individual. The recognition factor adds another fascinating layer to an already complex incident. In a move that surprised many analysts, the official statement from the Jones camp contained absolutely no apology. Instead of de-escalating, they doubled down on his right to defend himself against bullying. This strategic choice highlights a shift in how Jon's team handles his public image, moving away from the reformed sinner trope and toward a "take me as I am" defiance. This pivot reflects a calculated understanding of Jones's core fan base, many of whom admire his unapologetic persona and view constant apologies as weakness. By refusing to back down, the statement reinforces the idea that Jones is a man who stands by his actions, right or wrong. It may alienate casual observers and critics, but it strengthens loyalty among those who have stuck with him through previous controversies. We examine why this pivot might be more effective with his dedicated supporters, even if it leaves the general public and critics more concerned than ever. In the age of polarized audiences, catering to your most passionate fans can sometimes outweigh broader appeal. The no apology approach marks a new chapter in Jones's PR strategy. Whether it ultimately protects or damages his legacy will depend on how future incidents are handled and whether the public grows tired of the recurring pattern. For now, the Jones team is betting that defiance resonates more powerfully than contrition. Is Jon Jones simply incapable of ignoring a slight? The parking lot footage shows a man who feels the need to physically manifest his dominance over a stranger who flipped him off. While martial arts teaches discipline and the avoidance of conflict, Jones's instincts seem to pull him in the opposite direction. We look at the psychological makeup of a champion who can neutralize world-class heavyweights but still feels the need to step out of his truck to confront a random driver over a lane dispute. This tension between dominance and discipline lies at the heart of Jones's character. Inside the octagon, that dominant instinct has made him nearly unstoppable. Outside of it, however, the same trait can create unnecessary problems. Many fighters train for years to develop the wisdom to walk away from conflict, yet Jones appears to struggle with letting even minor disrespect pass. Psychologists and fight analysts often discuss how elite competitors develop a mindset where any challenge, no matter how small, triggers a response. For Jones, stepping out of the vehicle may have been less about anger and more about an ingrained need to reassert control. The incident invites deeper reflection on the mental fortitude required to be the best, while also maintaining balance in everyday life. Can a fighter wired for total dominance ever fully master the art of peaceful disengagement? This parking lot moment crystallizes that ongoing internal battle. The use of the word bully in the official Jones statement is a tactical masterstroke. In modern discourse, being a bully stopper is a heroic title that can wash away a multitude of sins. By framing the other driver as the aggressor and Jon as the protector of his own peace, his PR team is attempting to win the most powerful seat in America, the seat of the victim. This narrative strategy cleverly taps into cultural sensitivities around bullying and self-defense. It repositions Jones from potential instigator to principal defender, a move that resonates strongly in an era where victim status carries significant social currency. The bully stopper framing allows supporters to rally behind him without feeling they are excusing bad behavior. We deconstruct this narrative and explain why, in the world of high-stakes public relations, being the heroic victim is often better than being a calm champion. It provides a morally clear position in an otherwise murky situation, and makes criticism more difficult without appearing to side with a bully. While effective in the short term, this approach also invites scrutiny. Some argue it diminishes genuine victims and avoids genuine accountability. Nevertheless, for a figure as polarizing as Jon Jones, controlling the narrative through powerful framing remains one of the most effective tools in preserving legacy and fan support. Who is in Jon Jones's ear? This latest incident highlights a recurring theme in the life of the champion, a total lack of accountability from his inner circle. Analysts are questioning whether anyone in the Jones camp has the authority to tell him no when he decides to step out of his vehicle in a commercial area to engage in a road rage spat. As he nears the end of his career, the inability to manage these minor incidents could lead to a major catastrophe that no PR team can fix. The absence of strong voices willing to intervene has been a consistent criticism of Jones's team over the years. Whether due to fear of losing favor, financial dependence, or genuine belief in his decisions, the lack of pushback appears to enable repeated risky behavior. True friends and advisors would ideally provide the checks and balances necessary to protect both his safety and his reputation. This pattern raises serious concerns about long-term consequences. What starts as a parking lot confrontation could one day escalate into something far more serious. As Jones approaches the final chapters of his legendary career, the stakes grow higher. The unchecked GOAT narrative suggests that without meaningful internal accountability, even the greatest talent